Welcome back in live to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Today, we are previewing the second of the two semifinal matchups between the Cincinnati Bearcats and the Alabama Crimson Tide. This is one of the more intriguing matchups just because it's finally we're seeing a group of five team.
Yeah, group of five. Love to see group of five. That puts me to sleep. I hate it.
We finally get to see a group of five team come in and play in the college football playoffs. This is the best group of five team we've seen. I think that's clear. This pretty much
That's
just
saying something
from last year. A team that pushed Georgia in a bowl game last year has come back. Obviously, Dylan does not give them much credit. Vegas is not giving them much credit, and not a lot of people are giving them much credit. The spread is sitting at Alabama favorite at 13.5 points. The over-under set at 57.5. Dylan, open us up here. What's your entry point into this matchup?
So I think I don't see this game being close, honestly. I think the one thing Cincinnati does have going for it is an excellent secondary. And I think I don't think it's just the corners. I think they all can play. I think the safeties look pretty good, and they don't give up a ton of brutal plays. So that's kind of what you have to certainly do. That's like the starting point with them is you can't be getting torched for 70-yard bombs. So I think they have the secondary to kind of limit that and not have it be a huge issue. Problem is everywhere else, I just think it's like you don't have the talent. I think the biggest issue is they're not going to be able to block Will Anderson. I think their left tackle struggled mightily against Notre Dame and Houston. So for Cincy, I think they're going to lack the physicality across the board to deal with Alabama. And that's just by nature. You're not recruiting on the Alabama level at a single spot. And you don't have really any guys who Alabama would have been recruiting particularly hard.
Yeah, I think the key stats, if I'm just looking at it from like a boxer, says this Cincinnati, you said it, this Cincinnati defense has been phenomenal against the pass. 168.3 yards per game through the air is phenomenal. They're going up against one of the best passing offenses in the country. Alabama averaging 350 yards, just under 350 yards passing per game. So we'll see. Something's going to have to break there. Obviously, Alabama does not have John Mechie. He tore his ACL in the SEC championship game. So really, it's only Jameson Williams. And I brought up this stat line because I was wondering, who is Alabama's third wide receiver? I was thinking like Slade Bolden. That's the only one that can come from mind. Who's been producing? The answer's been nobody. Brian Robinson is 268 yards. After John Mechie and Jameson Williams, it is Slade Bolden in the slot who's next in yards, and it's only 333 yards. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is, all right, we're putting a safety over top of Jameson Williams every single time, and we're going to make someone else beat us. And that's not to mention you have two of the top five best cornerbacks in the country, Cincinnati, and Kobe Bryant and Sauce Gardner. And I think if these guys can put their arms and hands on Jameson Williams, kind of get him off his route, we didn't really see the Georgia cornerbacks do that at all.
Yeah, that's true. They just let them both run. They let Mechie run, and they let Jameson in particular.
And now you don't have Mechie. And now realistically, you don't have a second. Like there hasn't been a proven second weapon. And now, no doubt, you look at those recruiting classes. They have 5 stars at those positions, but they haven't produced. And now we're going to ask them to produce in the biggest game of the year for this team. I have a little question marks about that.
That's fair. I mean, the problem is, okay, so since he has the secondary, as much as people hype up Mijai Sanders and kind of the rest of that defensive line, I don't think you saw consistent pressure from the front four. And they do too much rushing 3 men. And if they rush 3 against Bama, they're going to get torched, I think. Because Bama's good enough, and Bryce Young can really, like, he's composed back there. He doesn't have a problem, like, freaking out, just running like maybe Jack Cohn did or some of the, like, less proficient quarterbacks. So they can't do the 3-man rush. And they're going to have to pray to God they get better at they can get their pass rush going. Because I didn't see it consistently against a very weak Notre Dame offensive line and against Houston.
We saw it. Like, I don't know. This was maybe Nick Saban. Nick Saban benching Jalen Hurts and going with Tua in the national championship game to win was one of his best coaching moves. a high second is how did this offensive line go from just getting absolutely dog walked by Auburn in the Iron Bowl to like
Don't get it.
a phenomenal like protection. They were running the ball against Georgia. I literally don't know what happened in that week.
The only thing I can think is the loss of Adam Anderson, I think, hurts.
Yeah,
and his suspension is really tough for Georgia because he is their best pure pass rusher, I think, no question.
Not close, yeah.
And I think if you can pick the tempo up on that team, what you say, like you can wear that defense down. They run, they play very hard, they play fast, and they're huge, especially on the defensive line.
Yeah.
So if you can keep the tempo high, like Bama could keep it up and sustain drives fairly well, I think you can wear out Jordan Davis. You can wear out Devontae Wyatt. And if you can do that without having Adam Anderson coming off the edge, I think you have a good chance of slowing that Georgia team down. And I think if Bama can do that and I mean just playing better at offensive line. But it's just I think I do think they're gonna really struggle to get after the quarterback. I think if Georgia couldn't do it, and I know Bama has struggled at times, but if Georgia can't do it, I just don't see Cincinnati doing it. If they can't rush with the front four, they're gonna struggle. That's kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think one more, and then we'll get to our picks and round out the video. Is we see Cincinnati be one of the better rushing teams. They run for 180 yards per game.
Ford's really good.
Yeah, he's actually an Alabama transfer.
They're not like the greatest. I don't think they're like a powerful offensive line, but Ford is really savvy getting into holes, and they do a good job using their tight ends to get on linebackers. So as much as they're not running a pure power downhill run, at least that's what I gather from Notre Dame. They do a good job getting the backers, and in Ford, I really like his game. I think he really has a good feel for getting into open space.
Yeah, and obviously Desmond Ritter is a phenomenal athlete too. But this Alabama defense has been, I mean,
yeah, they've tightened the screws ever since Florida for sure.
Ever since Florida, like this defense is super talented. I could name there's maybe 4 names that are day 1, day 2 picks. Christian Harris, Henry Toto being those erasures at the linebacker spot. Obviously, Will Anderson is not only a very good pass rusher. I don't think I gave him enough credit in the run game. He's very good at setting the edge and being active in the run game. In the back end, Jordan Battle's a kind of a ball hawking safety. And so this Alabama defense is one of the best Alabama defenses we've seen in a really long time. Barring that Texas A&M game, they've been dominant pretty much ever since.
The one thing I will say is that, and I guess really Florida's the only really good rushing quarterback they played. But if they can use Desmond Ritter to open the run game up in a similar fashion to what Florida did, and again, I think Florida's offense proved to not be that great. But what they did do is they utilized quarterback runs to open the running game up, and I think that obviously worked very well. So I think, yeah, as you mentioned, Ritter can run it, and who knows, that is like one of the thing in my mind, like, okay, can Cincinnati challenge? Like if they can utilize Desmond Ritter's athleticism in a similar fashion to Florida, maybe they can score a little more than I think.
But I think they should look to do it a little bit. I said I would struggle to see them do that just because Desmond Ritter is a phenomenal thrower as well. Emory Jones is kind of like a
but they can throw him on the run because it's like they can use like a creative scheme to get him moving. Our run pass option kind of play, but because he really is good on the run, he can throw from both sides on the run, and I don't know. That's
all right. Let's get into
the one avenue I kind of see for them to make it close because they're not going to be able to protect well, and yeah, obviously they're probably going to give up some points just because Bama can really score.
All right, so the line's sitting at 13.5. The over/under's 57.5. Which way are you leaning? For me, this isn't a game that I love.
I don't like these big monster spreads.
I don't know if I want to lay Bama to win by 2 touchdowns, but I could certainly see them it could be an ass kicking. But I also think Cincinnati has there's a lot of wind at their back to support them keeping this a game. One being John Mechie's hurt, so really you only got to battle up Jameson Williams, and Brian Robinson, who's been not that efficient of a ball carrier.
They're going to have to do a good job on the tight ends too, Latu and Billingsley, because they really did struggle with Michael Myers. So I think.
Yeah, but that's like Jaleel Billingsley has been one of the most like underperforming.
Yeah, but you see Saban, he'll pull these guys out and they'll step up from like O.J. Howard in the title game, like guys who don't catch balls. And he has that. They have done that and bust out of the games.
If I were to pick, I think I'd want to get a point and take Cincinnati at 14.5. I know it's a little bit of a cop out, and I don't with no John Mechie, I don't see Alabama's offense as explosive as it will be. They don't run the football that well. This is not a physical Alabama offensive line, and so if you can slow down pretty much only Jameson Williams and keep Bryce Young in the pocket, I really don't think this Alabama team will be able to be as explosive as we've seen. That being said, if you fail to kind of cover Jameson Williams, let him get behind you like Georgia did, you could see it get a little blowout. I think Sauce Gardner and Kobe Ryan are going to be up to the task. I'm taking Cincy to keep it close. I'd probably take a point, 14.5.
Yeah, my thinking is I think you're going to see a Cincinnati team really struggle to score a lot more than people think. I just think too good up front, too physical, and really a defense that's really coming on and playing incredible down the stretch. So I don't see this game being close. I'm not a group of five believer. I think like all this Cincinnati, like they beat Notre Dame in a game where Notre Dame threw some horror picks and had some incidents. So it's like, I just don't see the Cincy team hanging. I would take the Bama to cover this. I don't like the over under because I don't know. It's like I see Bama scoring close to 40, and then I could see Cincinnati getting maybe up around 20. But so I think it's kind of right on. I don't see like a hole in that. But my instinct is just to say Bama's going to wipe them off the face of the earth, beat them by like 30. So,
that's a review. I think we knew that was coming from Dale. It's an interesting game. I don't know if it'll be a good game. I'm not personally gonna take anything on it. I think it's gonna be kind of a weird one. It might be a live one. It might be like Cincinnati comes out. They seem like they can.
It comes out of the gate
with them physically, which is like the big question marks. You might see a live bet, but this is just too difficult. We haven't seen Cincy really play a team like this. They hung with the Notre Dame team, but I don't think Notre Dame's no Alabama. There's a reason we see Notre Dame get blown out by all the Alabama.
Yeah.
That's a review on the game. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited for it.
So pumped for the playoffs.
Appreciate you guys hanging with us, and we'll be back later with more reviews. Peace.